Good morning, learners, and welcome to our today's lesson. As you can remember that in our last lesson, we looked categorically at the animals, and we say that animals are divided into two parts. If you can remember, we say that we have vertebrates and then we have invertebrates. Under vertebrates, we mentioned the meaning of vertebrates. We say that these are animals that have backbones. And we may went ahead to mention what is a backbone. We say that a backbone is those are bones that are connected from the tail to the head of an animal. After that, we went ahead to mention categories of these vertebrates. And we mentioned that we have mammals. After mammals, we have birds. After birds, we have reptiles, we have fish, and then again we have amphibians. So we talked about these 5 categories. We looked at mammals, for example, and we mentioned mammals. We mentioned all the examples of mammals, like human beings. We mentioned cats, dogs at home. Most big animals, the ones that are at home, all domestic, most domestic and wild animals are found under mammals, most of them. These big ones, the browsers, most of them fall here. And again, we mentioned even the ones that are in the sea, where we mentioned whales, dolphins, and the rest. Then we came to birds. We mentioned birds like hens at home. We mentioned ostriches in the jungle, and etc. So we came to that, and we mentioned the characteristics of mammals, of which we say that mammals are warm-blooded. Warm-blooded meaning that they have constant body temperature. The temperature does not change according to the environment. I gave an example of a human being yourself. When you go to a cold environment, you'll have to put on a sweater because your body temperature can't change. Not that if you go to the ice, you change to be a cold-blooded animal, no. You remain a constant bodied animal wherever you go. Whether you be in a very hot place, you realize that you are feeling bad, hence you'll require to have some very light clothes to make yourself maintain that body temperature. So mammals have constant body temperature. Number 2, mammals give birth to young ones. They breastfeed their young ones. They breastfeed using what? Using their mammary glands, and that all the time was there. Mammary gland at the breast that the mothers use to feed their young ones. Under mammals, we mentioned that there are all mammals walk on their limbs except a bat, that is a flying mammal. And again we say we have some mammals that lay eggs. There are only 2. That is duck-billed platypus and spiny anteater. Those mammals don't give birth to young ones like human beings, but they lay eggs like birds and reptiles. So, Lana, we mentioned those few. Their bodies are covered with fur or hair like human beings, and again, and etc. Birds, we mentioned birds. They also have they are warm-blooded. Their bodies are covered with feathers. And again, we say that these birds have scales on their feet. After that, we also mentioned that the birds eat. They take food using their beaks. They don't have mouths like us. They don't have teeth, but they take food using their beak. So that is where we stopped, and we are now to go to the reptiles, of which we shall mention very quickly about reptiles. You can see here. So our number 3 is reptiles, and I'd like to see what are these reptiles and what do they do. So number 1, Lana, you must know that reptiles are just animals. Is an example of vertebrates. These are also vertebrates. Reptiles are also vertebrates. There are examples. Let me just give examples that you can know them. Example, we have snakes, crocodile. We have a crocodile. We have some like turtle, a tortoise. Some people call it a tortoise. A tortoise. We have a tortoise. Then we have chameleon, lizards, and gecko. Chameleon, lizard, and gecko. We have a lizard, then we have a gecko. So just to explain these animals, Lana, because you may realize that most of them are not known to you. Like a gecko. A gecko just looks like a lizard, but it's somehow big. It is mostly seen on top of trees. You see that there's something maybe some are green, some are fun color, some are brown in color, but they like going up the tree all the time. At times they knock their head anyhow on top of the trees. So a gecko is a very good example of a reptile. A lizard is normally brown in color. It likes going on the walls. Then a tortoise has a shell, you know a tortoise very well. Then a chameleon as well changes color the way you know it. A crocodile as well lives in water, and a turtle as well, almost same to a tortoise, also live in water. So those are their examples, Lana, as you can see them. So you can now see what makes them, how do they behave, these reptiles. So we go to the characteristics of reptiles. What are their characters? Number one, Lana, all reptiles are cold-blooded. They are cold-blooded. Number two, they lay eggs. And they lay type of eggs, they lay fertilized eggs. I mentioned that when we were talking about birds. Birds lay fertilized eggs. That's why a male bird will have to meet or to mate with a female bird before it lays eggs. Normally, see for the hens, a male bird will always mate with a female before it lays eggs. When it lays eggs before mating, it will lay and fertilize eggs. That's why we talk of laying fertilized eggs. And then number three, their bodies covered with dry scales. And then number four, these reptiles, number four, they breathe through lungs. They breathe through lungs. And then five, Lana, why is that? They walk on limbs except the snake. They walk, stroke, crawl. Alright, this word crawl there, because most of them crawl. Use the act of crawling, walking with the limbs or legs, but realize that the lower part that is the stomach, touches the ground, just like the way you see the crocodiles walk. You always see them walk like that, in that manner. These are their legs, but the lower part of them touches down still, though it will use the limbs to walk. That is the act of crawling. It's different to walking where only your limbs touches down, like a dog. A dog walks because only the limbs touch it down, and the lower part of the stomach is not touching down. That is walking. So that's the only difference between walking and crawling. These ones crawl or they walk using limbs, except a snake. That a snake slithers, and slithering entails walking, pulling yourself on the ground. Pull yourself on the ground. So that's all about this. We have seen the examples and we have seen the characters. Contrary to the birds, birds are warm-blooded. These ones are cold-blooded. And we say about cold-blooded. Cold-blooded meaning their body temperature changes with the environment. Their body temperature changes according to the environment. So they change. I just mentioned that when they go to a cold place, their body temperature becomes cold. Hence, lizards and all reptiles bask in the sun. And mark that sentence, Lana. Lizards and all reptiles bask on the sun on a hot way, on a cold weather. That is the morning and maybe in the evening, because they want to maintain their body temperature. That is the reason why they bask in the sun. They bask in the sun to maintain their body temperature. So much for about this. Hence, we are going to the next category. Our next category is going to be number 4. That is the amphibians. And let us know something about the amphibians. The amphibians, these are animals with soft, moist skin. They are animals with a soft, moist. The word moist there meaning it is wet. Moist skin. Moist meaning it's watery. And a very good example here is a frog. We have a frog. A frog is small. Then a big frog is normally known as a toad. We have a toad, newt, and then lastly we have salamander. So you may be asked, where do you categorize salamander? Salamander is an amphibian. Together with frogs, toads, and newts, and salamander, all those are under animals. A frog is small in size, as toads are big. So let us look at their characters, their characteristics. Number 1, they are cold-blooded, just like the reptiles. They are also cold-blooded. They are cold-blooded, meaning their body changes according to the environment. They are cold-blooded. Then number two, their bodies are covered with moist scales. Body covered with moist scales. So let's repeat myself the second time. We say that reptiles' bodies are covered with dry scales, but in this case they are covered with moist scales. That's different. Moist scales for the reptiles, dry scales for the reptiles, and moist scales for the amphibians. Then they live partly in land. They stay or live partly in water and partly on the land. What do we mean by this? At times they are in water, at times they are on the land. Then that is simply to maintain their body temperature, to keep their body always moist. When the body is not moist, they can't survive. And again, they lay and fertilize eggs. Contrary to the reptiles and birds lay fertilized eggs, but these ones lay and fertilized. Fertilized eggs. They lay unfertilized eggs, and again unfertilized eggs, and again they breathe through lungs, mouth, mouth and moist skins. So they breathe through things here. They breathe through lungs, that is number one, through their mouth, and lastly through their moist skin. Their moist skin. They breathe through three things here. They breathe through that. So this unfertilized eggs is laid on water. So they lay unfertilized eggs on water. You may be asked, where do they lay their eggs? All amphibians they can't lay their eggs on the land. They lay eggs will survive on water. And then the male amphibian will lay eggs on top of the female eggs to make them fertilized. So they are fertilized in that manner. Just in this way. A female one will lay eggs. They normally lay eggs that are in line like this. So the male one will also lay eggs on top of these ones to make them fertilized. Then the babies or the young ones will come out of what? Of the fertilized eggs after some time. So then after that, the young ones of amphibians, just to mention that, the young ones breathe through gills. NB, just a note that the young ones of amphibians breathe. They breathe through gills, just like the fish. We are going to come in to see the fish. They breathe through gills. They breathe through gills. They breathe through gills. They breathe through gills, just like the fish. And they stay in water only. Their mothers or the adults will stay both water and the land, but for the young ones, they must stay in water. They breathe through gills just like the fishes. So, they are called tadpoles. For the young ones of all these ones are called tadpoles. The tadpoles are the young ones. Are the young ones of amphibians. So you may be asked, what name do we give the young ones of amphibians? They are called tadpoles. And then lastly, Lana, let's go to the fish. Let's go to the fishes. Wind up our lesson, our discussion. Number 5, we have fish. So fish, Lana's fish are vertebrates that live in water. These ones are vertebrates that live in water. So other examples of fish are well known. E.g., we have trout. Trout is a very good example of fish that live in fresh water. Then we also have tilapia, common tilapia. Then we have daga, as you may call omena. Then we also have shark, and then we have Nile perch. Nile perch is the muta. People call it muta. People confuse shark with the mammals. Shark is not a mammal. The only mammal that we have is a dolphin, and we have the whales. Shark is an example of a fish. So we are just going to characterize very fast to get the characters of this fish. The characteristics of fish. A. All fish lay and fertilize eggs. They lay and fertilize egg, just like the what? The amphibians. Amphibians also lay and fertilize eggs on top of water. So fish also lay eggs on water. Then the male one will come to lay eggs on top of it to fertilize it. Then number 2, their bodies are covered with wet scales. Body covered with wet scales. That is B. So the bodies of amphibians are covered with moist, but these ones are now wet. Moist is no having at least little water, but wet has a lot of water. And then they breathe through gills. Breathe through gills. They breathe through gills. Just like the young ones of a frog. Though the young ones of a frog breathe through external gills. We are supposed to add that. The word external. External gills. But they don't breathe through internal gills. Internal gills. Then D is that they have streamlined body. They have streamlined bodies to help them move through the water. The water, to move swiftly through the water, they need the issue of streamline. Streamline just means this. They are streamlined in this manner. Let's look at my drawing. You understand the one that was streamlined in this way. So fish look like that. So streamlining is just that. They have a sharp, when their mouth is closed, they look like this. Their mouth is sharp to make them penetrate the water. When you go in this manner, water will be blocking them from movement. They can easily swim in the water because of the streamlined body. And then lastly, there are fishes. Fish E, they are cold-blooded. They are cold-blooded. That's they change. Their body temperature changes according to the environment. That's all about fish, Lana. That is all about fish. And I want us to stop there because what we are remaining with is invertebrates. And in our next lesson, we are going to look at invertebrates to crown so that we can end that topic and we begin a new topic. Until next time, Lana, I want to wish you well. Remain safe at home and be very hardworking. Thank you.